This podcast is dedicated to your personal and spiritual growth.
Welcome, everyone. Hello, and I'm so glad that you're here. This is Pamela Cummings, your host on the Pamela Cummings Show, and today I have a special guest that I'm very excited about. Dyan Garris is an award-winning New Age recording artist, composer, visionary mystic, voice recognition psychic, and trance channel medium who reads from the Akashic Records. A pioneer in the field of energy integration, Dyan has produced and recorded 13 albums, including a series of 6 independently tested music and guided meditation CDs that earned the National Health and Wellness stamp of approval. Her new CD, Mystic 9, was released in 2016 and won a Global Music Award. The song Mystic Sea, which, by the way, I love that song, from the album won an Independent Music Award in the New Age Song category. A relaxation album, Ornita, hopefully I pronounced that right, Ornita Breath of Angels, will be released in 2019. Garris music is heard on Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Sirius XM, Music Choices, and more, as well on international airlines. Her newest project is spameditation.com, where you can get high-quality video and MP3 meditations to relax and soothe your soul. Also, if you want to get in touch with Dyan, her main website is Dyan Garris. Let me spell that to you because her first name is spelled uniquely. It's DyanGarris.com. And today we're going to talk about how music can help your personal and spiritual growth. So without further ado, Dyan, welcome to the show.
Hi, Pamela. Thanks for having me on here. It's really a pleasure to be here again.
Oh, I'm so glad. Dyan has been on some of my other live radio shows in the past, so I know she's going to be a wonderful guest. So I'm going to start.
Oh, thank you.
Well, it's true. I just love Dyan. She's wonderful, and her music's fabulous. Dyan, when and why did you begin your musical journey?
Well, that goes way, way, way back, Reverend Pamela. All right, so when I was 4 is when I started, and
wow,
my mother, my mom came from a musical family. Her brother was a concert pianist, actually, and so music was super important to her. And so she bought a baby grand piano, and then along came a blind piano teacher. So I was like, okay, and I'm 4, right? And that's my first lesson, probably in life too. But I said to him, how are you going to? Because he came in with his sunglasses on, very Ray Charles, I said, how are you going to teach me how to play this when you can't see? And he said, he paused for a minute. I made him take his glasses off because I was a very precocious child, and he did. I looked in there, and they were blue eyes, but blind, and I thought, well, that's really interesting. And so he paused for a minute, and then he took my hands and laid them on his, and he said, "Child, we don't need to see the music. We feel the music." And it was, I was like, whoa, I felt the whole thing go right through my body. And so that was the start. So it was fascinating to me from day one.
When you said that, I felt that right in my heart. How amazing. And I mean, obviously now when you got older, you realize there's a lot of famous musicians who are blind. I mean, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder.
We feel music in our emotional body. And so if we realize that, that's why we feel it in our heart, because that's in our emotional body. That's how it works.
Yeah, that makes sense because music can bring up all kinds of emotions, definitely.
Yeah, did you ever hear well, here's a musical psychic, so you get you get song lyrics in your head. But, have you ever been somewhere and you hear the song and then it emotionally takes you back to your, whatever you were doing when you first heard that song or whenever meaning it had for you when it was playing, first. And it's because it transports us and
Right.
it's emotional body.
Right. That makes so much song, and that's why so many couples have their wedding song, and even your best friend, and play that funky music, White Boy by Wild Cherry. I can see all the kids in my grammar school, moving their head to it, and Doobie Brothers, got to hear some funky dicks. I can see like this one guy, Kevin, so yes, it definitely does bring you back.
That's funny.
That's
Oh,
that's so funny. Okay, well, you kind of me into my next question. It is how does music affect, your personal and your spiritual growth?
yeah. So because it works on the emotional body, this is what we're working on now. I mean, we're always working on it, but there's a real focus on it for us as a collective right now, because what's happening is with all of the technology, we're getting bombarded, and so we're disconnecting from our emotional selves, our emotional bodies, and from our fellow humans. And so music now, I feel like more than at any other time, is coming through to help us remember to connect to our emotions because, we're being unplugged. Well, everything else is being plugged in and we're being unplugged.
Mm.
We have to have it. Now, if you notice, every era kind of has its defining music. Did you ever notice that?
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
so certain music will, come through to the planet and get magnified depending on what the emotional temperature is of the people here at the time. Because it can really affect us in huge ways. So now the music that's coming through, I notice a lot of solo piano being classified as new age, things like that. And new age itself, kind of the definition kind of changing, but all that music where, we need the soothing, we need to be soothed, we need to be comforted, we need to hear the music of home. So we don't need so much, if you notice, like, we don't need so much headbanging music. We don't need, heavy metal. And we need soothing.
Mm.
And it helps us, grow as individuals too, because then we, spiritually, because it's the music of home that's really kind of coming through here in a big way.
Okay. The next question I was going to ask, you kind of touched upon it, but what is the best style of music to assist someone's inner growth?
I'm gonna have to say new age. but really, it's whatever you're vibrating to. Some people vibrate to, electronic dance music. Some people vibrate to, rap or hip hop or whatever. But in terms of spiritual growth, you want to vibrate to something, well, like I said, the music of home. So,
Mm.
because that is what's going to, be able to plug you back in a good way, not in a I'm getting electrocuted way. It's it's
That's funny.
it plugs you in, in a nice way, and we all need that soothing because there's so much that's filtering into the planet. We're just on overload. Our circuits are overloaded. It's not just about the healing; it's about the connection. It's the connection
Mm.
through the grid. So, if we look at, let's say, our planet and everything that's going on here as an electrical grid, which it is, and what do we want to plug into there? Do we want to plug into the frenetics, or do we want to plug into the things that are going to calm us down and make us feel good? But it's more than just, a fix in the moment. It helps you grow because it's changing your vibration is really what happens.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, because as you was talking, I was thinking about me personally, because I've always loved music. All right, and when I'm writing, because that's something that I love to do, I often listen to New Age music. I have this chakra balancing CD that I like, and I find I can really get into it, or Enya, or your music, or my friend John Gilbert. That's the kind of thing that I really like. Or if I'm going to meditate, when I do yoga, I like kind of mellow music, Lorena McKenna, James Taylor, Sade. I like hers too. And when I clean, I like something upbeat because I want to be motivated. If you notice, right? Because if I listen
Right.
okay, I'm getting a memory. I remember being with this woman, and we were driving back from Connecticut to New Jersey. This was many years ago, and it was late at night, and she had Enya on, all right? And it was very beautiful, but I'm like, you need to put something upbeat because I'm falling asleep, and I knew and I was a passenger, and I certainly didn't want her to fall asleep, so if I'm driving in the car and it's late at night, I want something upbeat. But I also need to be careful because I don't want to speed if it's like dance music or, real rock and roll or something like that. So, yeah, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, it's a frequency and a vibration that you are plugged into through your emotional body, and those waves go out to everybody. So it's not like we're just autonomous. So we really need to be mindful of what we're listening to, what we're vibrating to.
Mm. Now,
The grid.
the grid. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to ask this, but I know that you have those spa meditations, which I've seen you put on Facebook, and which I've put on my Facebook page because I just think they're awesome. But as far as like music and meditation, how does that help us?
Oh, music and meditation. Okay. Like everything else, meditation has kind of changed. And, everything is sped up. I am still one for a nice, long, slow meditation, but I know people don't have a lot of time. So what Spirit asked me to do next was to kind of make some shorter meditations, which I'm doing with my friend Margot Joy, who's she's got an amazing voice. So they're shorter, and then we're putting, using music from my catalog to underlay, but it's a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to do it anyway, if you don't mind, because it's important.
Sure.
I make decks of angel cards, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I've been doing that since 1993. And the way that started was Spirit channeled to me a guided meditation. And then from that guided meditation came the first deck of angel cards. They were all themes from that guided meditation. And there was music that went along with that, and a journal. And it was a whole big multi-dimensional co-creating healing journey back in 93 and 94. Well, couldn't get anybody to listen to me about it, so it was considered pretty wacky back then. So anyway, long story short, fast forward many years later, and I kept making angel card decks. So I made a new one called Song of Om a couple of years ago, along with some others too. But Song of Om I made because they're all song titles from my music catalog. And so what I ended up doing with those is I animated them. So those very cool animated GIFs that you see on Facebook, the moving pictures, right?
Right. Oh, of course.
Okay. So Spirit told me, you got to do this, make these moves. and then take the songs and put those under. And so I made these. That's what I did. I taught myself to animate, and then I put the music under. So each card is kind of it's a song title. Fast forward a little bit more here to now, and Spirit said, take this Song of Om deck, which is already alive. It's already 3D because you get the art, and the art now moves, and then you have the music. And then Spirit said, take that and now make meditations from, start with this deck of cards. So that, it's a little long story there, but that is what we're doing. So right now, we're actually almost done with this deck. So you can see samples at spameditations.com and download and stream and all of that over there. Now we're bringing another dimension in by making meditations out of them. There's this one meditation we were doing the other day, and it's called Shifting Winds, and it's one of the songs off my album called 8, Music for Ascension, which I came out with in 2008. So think about this. A decade ago. Okay. Now, this is a very cool story. So Margot sends me the audio portion, she sends me the meditation, and then I put music to it, and then of the same name. So Shifting Winds has Shifting Winds song underneath it. And then I make the video. Well, so she has not heard the music. So she just does the audio, the meditation part. She doesn't know what the music sounds like. And so she sends it over. I edit it, I, space it out. And then I drop the music in. Now, this astounded me because The Shifting Winds is one of those songs where when I wrote it in 2008, I'm like, this is kind of a strange song and I don't really get, how it's new agey, but it just was different. And so like in the beginning, it has these little sparkly noises and then it shifts into, cause it's shifting winds, right? And it shifts into something else, and then it shifts into something else, and then it goes back to the sparklies and everything. Well, anyway, when I dropped the music in, I kid you not, I didn't have to adjust one single thing. And I sat there and I listened to it and I was astounded. I go, are you kidding me? Music I wrote a decade ago fits into this meditation a decade later, like astoundingly perfect. I called Margot and I'm like, you're not going to believe this. It was just really, it's meant to be. It's an amazing experience, and I know it's going to help people. One of the meditations is called Sleep, and people have trouble sleeping. And that is, I haven't put it anywhere yet. I think I'll put the sample on Facebook maybe, but wow, it's just, it put me to sleep, just like that endless song. Pamela, I was astounded. Spirit works in such mysterious ways, and to have anybody that does any video or audio editing would know this. To have something you just drop it right in there, and it moves along perfectly with words that someone else wrote from some other part in the country. We're not in the studio. We're not doing it together. It was amazing.
That is amazing. So, definitely. Because I know just the podcasting, and that's such a beautiful story. And it reminds me of something I read last night about not to worry about the how. Everybody, and this because you do psychic readings also, is everybody wants to know how this is going to happen. And if you just allow it to flow, even though it takes 10 years, it works out.
Yeah. It's, I can honestly say this has been a journey of listening to Spirit and trusting and just doing it. And sometimes a lot of things in my life, and I'm sure in everyone else's life, haven't made a great deal of sense. And I learned a long, long time ago, just even from that piano teacher, just move along with it, feel it, whatever it is, and wait for the guidance and direction of Spirit, just like when you're writing a song, it's in phrases, or you're writing like you write your blog. You know that it's in paragraphs. So if we try to rush that process, or we try to get, well, I don't know, what I'm supposed to write or whatever, just go with it. Because, like, for example, when I wrote Money and Manifesting and Money and Manifesting 2, I had never written characters, okay? And so I sat down to write this, and Spirit said to me, what we want you to do is write 7 characters. And I said, what are you talking about? I don't know how to do that. And see, Money and Manifesting is different because it is fictional. It's a fictional story. It's wrapped around information, because they didn't want to just put information out there because nobody was listening, because it was all about The Secret at that time. And then everyone was, in their I want, the impatience that you and I hear on the phone lines, right? How is it going to happen? Okay, here's the difference between someone who really needs to know how and someone who's going, okay, I'm not worried about how. You just, allow the guidance to come in. It's not that I'm psychic, so I'm so dialed up. That's not it. I'm just listening. All right. And I'm willing. This is a huge thing for people. Be willing to let things unfold and go with the flow, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's your boyfriend, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's a job. Go with the flow and try to kind of get into your alignment. That's another thing music helps people with. Get into your alignment. I sat down, never having written a character in my life, and these 7 characters sprung to life, and then I wound it around the information, and I was astounded, because I'm like, okay, each character represents a pattern in someone's life where they are stuck. And if you can see yourself reflected, this is where you can have a sort of a springboard for transformation and change. That's another, strange story, but be willing.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, talking about like the song, writing a song, it just comes to you. You hear famous, like the Beatles, some of their songs just came to them, and it was a matter of trusting. And when you were talking about the characters, I write nonfiction. I don't really write fiction. I've done it in the past, but I couldn't help, in my mind, I saw this, one of my favorite authors who took a picture of her, how she has this whiteboard of all her different characters and how things are going to be, and she has it all down packed, and that works for her. But I read that book, Money and Manifesting, and that's an excellent book. It's an excellent book.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. But since we're talking about music, can you give me a story or an example of how your music touched another's life, or how they helped them? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, you know what? You hear it all the time from people, and it's just quite something when somebody writes you and says, this really helped me, or like so. But a lot of what I do is so intertwined. So, for example, just Song of Elm and the readings there, and the integrated reading. So I have people that will write me and say, your body of work helped me. Like, it's like, it's more like that rather than somebody going, but, they did have, some, youth counselors that, took on like the meditation, illusions and patterns. And that guy wrote me and said, this really helped our young people to understand the patterns and change, transform, because they were headed in the wrong direction. That kind of stuff. It's, I don't know, if you really look at life, it's pretty amazing in the way Spirit weaves everything together. It's amazing. Be amazed. Be amazed.
Wonderful, wonderful. Before we go, I would like you to tell people how they can connect, find your music, your cards, however you want people to connect to you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So, I already said at the beginning that it's DyanGarris.com. That's the main site now, DyanGarris.com. And then DyanGarrisMusic.com, my music site. And then, of course, to get a free angel card reading, I did try to put them on all of the sites. So we have freeangelcardreading.com, virtualpsychicfair.com, and I don't want to inundate people. But of course, the beautiful music and meditations at smallmeditations.com. It's just, well, you can tell I have a real passion for bringing this to the world right now.
Right.
We need it. We need it.
Yes, we do. We just like people are starting to, with the youth, when you're talking about how you're contributing and the yoga and everything else, we really do need to get back in touch with our spirit. And anyone's listening, you can find this information. I will have the spameditation.com and DyanGarris.com. It will be there if you need to get in touch with her. And I'm your host, and Pamela, CUMMINS.com. Dyan, thanks again for coming on the show.
Pamela, I really appreciate it. I just adore and love you.
God,
You are a very special. You are a very special person. So thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. And I just want to say there's a saying, if you spot it, you got it. So you're very special too.
Oh.
Namaste, everyone. And till the next time, bye-bye.